What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Monday? Going to have a great show because I was at a Titans practice on Friday. How about that? Titans back on the practice field and kicking it off with rookie minicamp over the weekend. Titans media was out there on Friday to watch for the first time J.C. Latham, Devondre Sweat, the rest of the rookie draft class, undrafted free agents, and a couple tryout players that were former first-round picks years ago. So we're going to discuss today J.C. Latham and why he and Bill Callahan are already proving to be the perfect pair to fix the Titans' offensive line's abysmal play over the last several years. So we'll dive into that. We've got video from Titans practice as well to go along with it, and a new name for us to talk about over this summer. Her name is Bertha, and she's got a friend named Olga. So we'll talk about Bertha and Olga, invented by Bill Callahan, Titans offensive line coach, and what they will be able to do to help J.C. Latham and other members of the Titans O-line get to a really good playing performance to help out Will Levis. Everything's a domino effect, and this could be a big deal for the Titans being able to win more on the field this upcoming season. Zach will discuss all of that, and then we'll get to the age game on our Monday. I'm still trying to get to the leaderboard. I know several people want to be on the leaderboard. We've had some repeat winners as well, so hope everybody had a great weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
We're going to have a unique age game today. Go down a historic age game, I would say.
Right.
That's all I'll say. But a lot to get to, as Austin said, as more people pile in on the chat and on the community and on this video. And so we are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Keep you locked in right there. We will tweet out segment by segment, link by link on our Twitter handle, at A to Z Sports. That's at ATOZ Sports. Follow us on Twitter if you're a Titans fan and you enjoy the content that you see. That's a great way to interact with us. See articles, obviously, the live streaming shows, other videos, practice videos. So that's where to lock in. We also got Instagram for that as well. So if you're on IG, A to Z Sports, you can look us up there. On Facebook, on YouTube, you also need to subscribe, like this show, and also ring the bell. Those are the 3 things that you got to do on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Search A to Z Sports Nashville on YouTube. If you have subscribed, go ahead and like this video. It will help grow the community and get the algorithm rolling and jogging on this Monday morning to get this video in front of more Titans fans. And if you've done both, make sure your live alerts are on. So when we go live, you go live and you can jump in there. So that's a great way to do that on our YouTube page. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen, sharing out of public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. Share the show around, like the show, as our guy King VC always gets the community kind of up. King VC is the international hype man of A to Z Sports, hyping us up, trying to get more likes. That is valuable. So like this show on Facebook. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed, and we're also on Twitch. So let's get this party started on a Monday morning with a little Titans practice to talk about.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. For a quote today, use that link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. I do see some Ravens hate in the chat, and MB asked, am I missing something? Why the Ravens talk in the chat? Well, the NFL did, I guess Adam Schefter broke some news this morning that the NFL's first game of the 2024 regular season will be the defending Super Bowl champs Kansas City Chiefs and Derrick Henry and his new team, Lamar Jackson, and the Baltimore Ravens. That will be the Thursday night opener for the NFL season, Ravens Chiefs. And then the Friday night game, the new one in Brazil, between the Packers and the Eagles. So if you do see some Ravens slander in the chat, that's why that they have that on top of mind. But hey, I mean, if you're an NFL fan, it's a pretty good two games there on Thursday and Friday night between four teams that should win a lot of football games this upcoming season.
Well, yeah, sign me up. I mean, I'm going to be watching no matter what. It could be the Jags versus the Cardinals, and I'm still going to watch. So, but it's not, and we get really, two talented quarterbacks and an international game. So more football. I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I was at Titans rookie minicamp on Friday with the rest of Titans media and having a chance to look at all of these rookies on the field for the first time. The Titans did have a couple veteran former first rounders on there for a tryout basis. That would be Williams III, a cornerback from Cincinnati who had been a first round pick in 2016. And then Shane Ray, who was an outside linebacker first round pick out in Denver from Missouri in 2014. So that's an interesting note there to watch as they're trying to add more depth to those two positions. But everybody had their eyes on J.C. Latham and T'Vondre Sweat. And Zach, you've covered a many Titans practices before. I didn't watch a single wide receiver drill. And I think that's the interesting thing about what this draft class looks like. I didn't watch a single offensive skill position drill because I was glued to O-line and D-line with the top two picks. So that in itself is new when it comes to this Titans team. But we're going to dive deep into what J.C. Latham was doing for his first Titans practice. And that is the fact that Bill Callahan, this is the first time that we have seen Brian Callahan, Bill Callahan, and the rest of the coaching staff on the practice field for the Titans with our own eyes. And so watching Bill Callahan go through the O-line drills, and I had heard walking up to practice that Bill Callahan had a bunch of new toys out there around the O-line part of the field, and you could see it, Zach. It was new types of sleds everywhere. And two sleds named Bertha and Olga got a lot of the attention because that's what was used on Friday in the first rookie minicamp practice. So let's take a look at this sled Bertha versus Titans first round pick J.C. Latham. We'll watch the reps first, and you'll hear Brian Callahan talk about the sleds that his dad invented, Bertha and Olga. Here is J.C. Latham versus Bertha. So, a couple housekeeping notes. That sled weighs 380 pounds, as J.C. Latham told us after practice. And then Bill Callahan invented that. But you saw J.C. Latham fail the first time. And then the second time got too high. The sled stood him up. And you could hear Bill Callahan in the background say, "Take another bite." And then J.C. Latham lowered his hips a little bit, and the sled started to move. And here's Brian Callahan, Zach, on what that sled is all about and how it's designed, invented by his father, Bill.
Yeah, those sleds, I don't know if you guys know, I think my dad invented that sled. So it's designed in a way to more accurately mimic what it feels like to have to clamp and brace on, like what a normal defender would feel like. Some of the old school sleds, they don't really give you that same balance issue, and they're really hard to move. I mean, those I can't tell you how hard those things are to move, and to move straight, because they tip and they're off balance. They're meant to really stress guys' ability to strengthen their core, keeping their hands tight, and be able to drive a sled vertically as opposed to getting all off kilter. It's a balance thing. So there's a lot of indoctrination that goes into those sleds. Our guys, even now, it's taken them a couple weeks to feel good about moving them the way they're supposed to move. So it's fun to watch. I like watching those guys do it, but they improve pretty quickly. It happens fast.
How'd they get their names? Bertha and Olga? I heard them with the names. How'd that happen?
That I don't know. You'd have to ask the line coaches that. I don't know that.
There's Bertha and Olga, Brian Callahan breaking it down. So, Zach, what's your thoughts on watching J.C. Latham going up against that, and the fact that Bill Callahan has invented sleds for O-line drills? And that's not the only thing that he's invented, but he's invented it. He has a patent for it, and he sells it on the side. But the Titans have the first crack at using these sleds that Bill Callahan has drawn up?
Well, look, I respect he's a businessman, right? Now
Yeah.
that's smart, right? You find a little side job because colleges and high schools they want little Berthas. First of all, daunting, right? Because what that drill represents to me is low man wins. The low man wins. You have got to get your entire power underneath you to drive up and out. It's not just driving up, because the goal of the drill, as I've seen it, it's not just to lift it up, it's to lift and move and push. Sleds are meant to go this way, right?
Mhm.
But there is a certain technique, and that's I assume what it teaches is to be able to get underneath, low man wins, and drive forward. And that's beneficial when you're going up against big defensive linemen in run blocking, because that's what you're moving forward.
Mhm.
Now, and that brings up another part of this is JC that Bertha was not just designed for JC Latham, right?
No,
it's meant
no, of
for
course.
offensive
Everybody.
linemen in general, right? To help their technique, their skill, push forward, drive, keep your hands in close so you don't get holding calls and those type things. We know, and this is what came out with JC Latham in the draft process. And again, it goes back to a little bit of, and I stand by, I did not think he was going to be a top 10 pick. He was picked 7 overall. And one of the things that they looked at him is, I mean, this dude's a beast. I mean, you talk about arms, you saw him in the flesh. I saw him in Detroit. I mean, dude's huge, big paws. Yes. He's a very good run blocker, right? That was not a question. The one thing that, you have pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, is his pass blocking ability, right? Can he pass block at the same clip as some of the other guys and develop that skill set? I think Bertha, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I was not at practice, that's more of a driving forward,
sure,
get underneath, defeat your man, and have Tony Pollard run by your ass on the way to a first down or a touchdown, right?
Yeah,
but the drill is impressive. I mean, I'll say that
for sure. So let's listen to watch the video again. And you heard Brian Callahan talk about hand placement, staying inside, and using balance and core. And you'll watch it again and watch how the sled, it's a setup move, right? Like you're already set up inside, like you're holding a specific part of the sled on the inside with your hands. You get inside there, you get set up, and then the rep starts. So it's really about teaching that hand placement and that explosive first body movement. And then you'll hear Bill Callahan. They had a little some side game going on. I didn't know, I don't know what it was, but you could hear Bill Callahan talking about taking JC's money. But let's watch this video one more time. So I don't want to take all your money because clearly JC lost that first rep. And I think it's so interesting because overall, Zach, watching that practice, they spent so much time working on stances, working on just getting into a brand new stance with the offensive lineman. Again, this was probably the only practice I've ever been to in 11 plus years covering the Titans, where all I did was watch the O-line and the D-line. But they were starting from scratch. And with everybody out there, draft picks, undrafted guys, whatever, tryout guys, starting with their stances and then overall technique to really build them from the ground up, to not just rely on athleticism or create bad habits that turn to sacks allowed or penalties drawn. So I thought that was really overall impressive to watch Bill Callahan work and watch JC Latham quickly learn on the fly.
Well, and that's what rookie mini camp represents. This is the first time that they've been in a professional practice. I'm sure Nick Saban runs a pretty tight ship, right? But now you're a pro. You got brand new uniforms, you got brand new helmets, you're in a brand new place. You've kind of been plucked out of your comfort zone to a degree, right? And now, you talk about building from the ground up. And the other thing is that Bill Callahan made that thing. He knows how to move it. Bill probably couldn't move it, but that's just based on the size. We may talk about that, but he knows how to, right? What you need to do and what linemen need to do, because there's got to be a technique to the actual sled, right? It's not just up. You saw in the first rep, that was just up. Well, that's not a successful rep. It's up and forward, driving forward, and that's where the sled comes in. So, big dude, getting your hips underneath you is, imagine, and he's still a kid. He's not even, I don't want to say JC Latham's not a grown man, but he doesn't have a lot of life experience. Let's just talk about that, right? Imagine when he, a few years, and what Bill Callahan and being a professional athlete with all of the things that are available to you can make you become. We saw Peter Skoronski for the first time in a year. He's got a beard. He's got bigger muscles because he's getting closer to being a man. That's just the facts. And when you get offensive linemen in today's age, in the 1920s, they didn't look like JC Latham, No. And it's just a completely different. They didn't look like Peter Skoronski. It's a different time and place, and you could see that on that drill. Very impressive with just how you move that type of machinery.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to put up a poll on YouTube. Zach, you're going to ask a question in the chat for Facebook and YouTube. But I want to know how many people think that they could successfully move Bertha, the 380-pound giant sled that Bill Callahan has invented. Do you think you could successfully move Bertha, this big sled that JC Latham was worked? Just move it a little bit, the right way. Move it. So we'll get to all of your answers and get you guys more involved. I see some good comments in the chat already. But Zach, first tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP is where to go to get your health plan, right there at the bottom of the screen. Health, dental, and vision. Farm Bureau Health Plans has been in business over 75 years. They've got 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. If you are in the state of Tennessee, you really should look at this health plan. It saves you money, and it's a better plan. That was the instance in my case a few years ago when I looked at it and I said, well, this makes perfect sense. It can make perfect sense for you and your family. All you have to do is go to fbhp.com/ATOZ. You type in there, you submit some information. You then take a health assessment over the phone. After that, they log that into their system, and they give you a quote 24 to 48 hours later. After that, now that's free of charge. Just to find out how much it's going to cost. And then once you find out, it's now your decision on what you want to do. And it can be the right decision for you and your family. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
And it's playoff time still. And with BetMGM, you can take advantage of all the playoff action. We can also, don't sweat a swing and miss, thanks to Insurance Token from BetMGM. Add an MLB wager to your bet slip and activate your Bet Insurance Token. If your bet with the token applied doesn't hit, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets up to a specified maximum amount. That's another chance to step up to the plate and bet on the action out there on the diamond. Baseball is America's national pastime, and BetMGM's favorite pastime is making the sport even more amazing for fans. Whether you want to bet on no-run first inning, try a signature bet, or take a home run prop, BetMGM has loaded lineup for all 9 innings all season long. So go to your BetMGM account today, claim your Bet Insurance Token, and get your stake back in bonus bets if your MLB wager doesn't hit. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks and official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days. And a gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 800-889-9789. Zach, I'll send you to the chat. I have created the YouTube poll, but I'm going to go to the chat first. Do you think you could successfully move Bertha? Because I know there's somebody out there who's going to be very, very confident in their abilities. But do you think you can successfully move Bertha, the 380-pound blocking sled machine, that Bill Callahan has invented. What's the chat saying here?
0, nope, no, I couldn't, hell no, absolutely not, no effing way. At least we've got some very truthful individuals in the chat. 0%, no, absolutely not, no, hell no, heck no, not happening. That would be a no. Curtis C comes in, yeah, did it in college, at least been a while. LOL. So there's some laughter in Curtis.
Where did Curtis play college ball, and did his university purchase one of Bill Callahan's sleds?
That's a question for Curtis.
Because this is just not a sled. It's not a sled. It's different.
Pistol Ramsey says 1 yard, which is
that's a long way.
0 yards. 1 yard's 3 feet, brother.
Yes, yes.
You know, it's a little bit further than just 12 inches, right? No, you know, Lucas is 6'3", 170. I don't think, Lucas, you'll have the weight to move the 380. I don't think a lot of people, even if you had weight, could move the 380. Not me. Negative. Hell no. So again, hell no. I'll just, so move it. Yes. More than a yard or two. No. And I think that is kind of how it's constructed though, Brandon, is that like to move it, you have to be in the right position to move it. It's not just one of those, like you can move. It's like, you have to, it's mechanical. Like you have to do one thing to get to the next, to then drive or move. So, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say I'm a no. I as I've gotten older, you make business decisions. I'm not the same athletic. I mean, I'm an athletic build. I used to dive on the floor at pickup games. Like that's just my mentality. I do that a lot less now in my pickup games because I make business decisions. I'm not moving a sled. I don't know how to move a sled. That's not in my repertoire of things that Zach Bingham does very well or can do. So I'm going to go, no, I can't.
Yeah. So I'm going to get to some comments because I did see some more come in. Of course, Big Ten Jeff says he probably could. Because he's a very confident person. Trey says maybe if I was,
I'm a very confident person.
Yeah, right.
Confident that I can't do that.
Trey says that he would maybe if he had some PEDs there.
Yeah, bath salts. Those you may do it and then keel over though if you're you have to have the right PEDs.
Yeah. And said Bork says it's 45 pounds heavier than a traditional sled. Plus, has all those counterweights to make it stop in place. I mean, I think the problem with it is so many people would basically break their back. Like they would get their back bent in the absolute wrong way and probably significantly hurt themselves for like the normal person to do this because JC Latham got stood up that second time. And I watched all of the guys out there on Friday do this. Everybody at least once got stood all the way up when they punched it up in the air. Like lifting it for these guys wasn't the problem. They got it up in the air, but it was not very fun once they got up there.
I feel like just watching it, and this is where the mechanics of it is you have to lift and at the right time push forward, right? And continue to lift and get underneath it, right?
It's not lifting, it's driving. And that's
you've got to lift to drive. What I'm saying is the first movement is correct, but you can't just do one movement of up. It's lift and move forward and then drive and get to a position where you can move it, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah, you have to obviously like punch it, right? That's the hand placement part of that. You have to punch it and then get it going a little bit. So I'm going to update the YouTube poll and see how many people will click the yes, they do think they can do it without having their name attached to it. But let's watch it one more time to see how JC Latham, the third time, gets it going in the right technique to see if we can break it down even further.
all your money.
All right, so you saw there the first time he did it, he went sideways, which is what Brian Callahan was talking about. It works your core because it's going to topple to one side. The second time he got it straight, stood it up, and then he had to reset and get his hips lower and then drive through it. I also think I found something out by watching that. But on our YouTube poll, Zach, I don't know. Have you seen the YouTube poll yet?
I saw it was like,
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so yeah, I was going to see if you could predict. But as of right now, 23 to 24% people say yes, they do think they can move it, which I think is ridiculous. For that amount of people think that they can actually move this sled successfully, because JC Latham, a first round pick and a 340-pound guy could do that. So I think Trey says that 24% of people are lying. I think could one person in the chat move it? Maybe one, because I'm guessing we've got some big guys that used to play O-line. At least one person has it, but it would take them a lot of reps and a lot of turns. I think there's no way in hell I could do it. I could probably figure out the technique of it, but I would need it to be about half the weight.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, how long would it take you to take that's not the question.
Right.
Like, that's why I think it's zero, because you don't get a second opportunity. Let's talk about this game, because I do think it's kind of funny. I don't think anybody, because to know the technique, you could watch that video and try to assume the technique, but for the first time to able to move, like at the end, Latham successfully did the drill, right? Where the sled was moving. I don't see on the first rep. I mean, you got to get low.
Yeah. It's all about that butt. Like, that's exactly, like, you've got to get that out and drive from there. And I know Andy Reid, Chiefs head coach, is somebody who talks about the rear end being what shows a player either still got it or not. Now, King VC has a good point. He drops in the super chat, says, if you voted yes, he demands that you show yourself. So anybody who voted yes on YouTube, please comment I voted yes. I in the chats if you voted yes on YouTube, because we've got about 25-ish people who have voted yes. So I want to see, okay, Rashid is one. Rashid Jenkins thinks he can do it. I don't know about that. I don't know if 25 people can do that right now. And Pistol Ramsey asked, did any other of the linemen move it? Yeah, I mean, at the practice, other offensive linemen did successfully move it, but it took them multiple reps like it did JC. But JC, I think, made it look, once JC got it moving, got it going, nobody else had it look like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive in its own right. And look, if you ever stood next to I mean, you and I have, because we covered the team, but an NFL lineman, like, I always remember Michael Ruse was a big MFer. Like, that dude was big. And it is like, and even like Lawan lost all of his weight, but Lawan was big. Like, when he was like year 3, right? I mean, that dude, he was big. He's large. They're just different human beings, you know? It's like guys who play in the NBA who are 6'10" and athletic. They're different human beings. They're not like you and I, right? And we're different human beings. I mean, I feel like, I mean, look, everybody comes in all different shapes and sizes. When you can be able to weigh that, have that height, and move, I mean, the input that you put in, the fuel that you have to put in your body, the amount of food that it takes to consistently maintain that is also another thing that I am very impressed and baffled by.
All right, so Carmen, there's a typo in here, but I think I understand. I'm 6'2", 265, and could lift. I don't know, but like, I think Carmen's trying to say that they could do it. at 6'2", 265. I don't necessarily believe you, but I think it's fascinating to watch, and I can't wait to get back out there in a couple weeks. I guess not this week, but next week to see Lloyd Cushenberry, Peter Skoronski, and the rest of the Titans offensive linemen, because Brian Callahan mentioned in that clip that we played earlier that the veterans have been working on this for a couple weeks, and you gotta figure it out. But once you figure it out, you get the technique. Now, once you get the technique, it's not like you've solved it. It's not like, oh, I figured it out, I solved it. The continuous part of doing this is strengthening your core, strengthening your hands, and getting that over and over repetition built to make that second nature when you're in the game to control the defensive lineman or the defender in front of you. I think that's what's going to be fascinating. It's not just figuring out the first time, but the over and over and over doing that to make you a better offensive lineman that's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, well, it's like a batting donut, right? Like, that's hard. I'm sure that they don't look forward to Bertha Day. I don't know how often that they're going to do this throughout the course of the season and all that, but you're expending a lot of energy, and it obviously teaches technique because you have to do it the correct way for you to complete the drill successfully.
Yep.
And the veterans hadn't even gotten a chance to get in on that.
They have. They've done it the last couple of weeks, but the media hasn't been out there. But next week, when the media gets to go out there for both veterans and rookies, we'll really be able to see the difference between Latham, Cushenberry, NPF, Dylan Radins, and is Daniel Brunskill at 47 years old going to be able to do this? I don't really know if that's something that's in his repertoire to be able to push, but I guess we'll find out, right?
Yeah. We will.
All right. So I did have an observation that I think is the best and the most important takeaway that I had from watching JC Latham's first Titans practice. I'll get to that in another video with JC Latham and Bill Callahan here in a second. But first, I want to tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who you can go to and who to trust to get you back into health and rehab the right way. Whatever you have to get done, whether it's a surgery, hopefully not, but if they've got it, they've got a surgery center right there that's the best in the business in the Middle Tennessee area. And also all their resources like imaging, testing, clinics, rehab is all in one roof right there in Franklin off I-65 and Highway 96. They've also got satellite clinics around Williamson County and continuing to grow. So whenever that injury pops up, the Bone and Joint Institute is where to go, boneandjointtn.org to book an appointment.
A to Z Sports. We are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app on your phone today. In your Apple or Android app store, use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ SPORTS, all one word, no spaces. 4 new users. They're hooking you up. You've got the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs. You got college baseball. Plenty of things to participate in and make a little wager. Try to make a little money with BetMGM.
All right, so Zach, I will give you the best and most important takeaway that I had watching JC Latham at his first Titans practice Friday. It's the fact that this guy is so damn coachable and so eager to learn and get better that I think is such a bright spot. And like the attitude that JC Latham has is impressive. He came up and talked to the media afterwards. He's engaging. He's got energy about him. He's got a positive energy too. And so I think, but watching this one video, I think this is rare because I was able to, and we were able to get really, really close to these offensive line drills. And here's a minute, 8 seconds of watching and listening the interaction between Bill Callahan coaching up JC Latham and another offensive lineman. And you can watch JC Latham get better with every rep he does in this particular drill. So watch and listen to this clip. It's pretty impressive overall.
Right. Good. Feel it? Yeah. Okay. Let's lock up. Okay. Press that forehead to the pad. Press that forehead to the pad. Let's get the hands locked. Put your press a little bit more, Jason. Press right up. Press your forehead. Put your hand right in there. Out of the water. Ready on the ball. We're ready. Go! Very good. All right. Again. Let's do it again. 2 shots. 3. Hey, fellas. Don't be hesitant about bringing those elbows back. Bring them back. Okay, this is all thrust. Okay, it's going forward. Okay, it's going back and then it's going forward. Looks like a piston. Got me? explosive as you can work your elbows and your hands. You really loosen your arms. Don't have tightness, don't have tension in your arm. Be really loose so you can strike this. We're ready on the ball, we're ready. Go! That's it. One more here. That's it, you got this. Hey, Paul, let's do it again. You really loosen the arms now so you can really deliver with speed in the hands. Let's go. Loosen the arms so you have the speed. Lower your hands a little bit, Jason. Here we go, we're ready. Go! All right, nice job. Well, that's a good rep. Hey, those next two, you go here, you got this.
I thought that was a really cool experience just to be able to be right in there in the drill and to hear Bill Callahan go through and how specific he is. Because when there was all this talk about, oh, Bill Callahan's the best offensive line coach in the league, like what about him makes him so good? And every time you ask that question, it's kind of hard to put it in words, but I would hear Rand Carthon, Brian Callahan, and others mention specifically it's the attention to details. It's the elbows, cock and back, shoot the elbows back and fire. Get your head here, lower your hands a little bit, get them inside, put that wrist behind your forearm. All of these things, it's so detailed and specific at the very first practice. And you watched Latham get better 1 through 4 reps right there, back to back to back to back. And by the end of it, he got it. The hand placement, the elbows, the punch, the lean, the explosion, the hips, everything. I thought that was a really fun video to watch. It was the best video. Even better. That was better than the Bertha video. That one that made all the rounds, but that was great. That was good stuff right there from Bill Callahan.
Also, it kind of made me tired watching it because of the energy. Like you're on your knees, and I'm not 300 and something pounds, right? You're on your knees, you're doing drills, and then you're listening. You're trying to take in what you're listening and then attribute it to the next time that you go. You know, you take a step back from this and you look at what the Titans have been, and this was my argument all offseason. They were god-awful at the offensive line position. They were giving up bottom 5 in the league sacks, like consistently, year after year after year. And what have they done that not many teams do? They have invested in back-to-back drafts, top tier first round picks, right? I mean, left tackle and guard. First round picks in the first half of like top 15 picks. Scrossy's a top 15 pick. Latham's a top 10 pick. I don't see a lot of teams doing that. Now, they got their quarterback in the top of the second round, trying to get him at the bottom of the first, right? But that's kind of what they tried to do years ago with Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin, right? Mm-hmm. Jack Conklin ended up going to Cleveland after, his deal was up in his first contract. Lewan was the highest paid left tackle at one point in the NFL with a $90 million contract. Now you're resetting. So you've invested 2 top 15 picks in the first round to fix this problem. You went out and you signed the best center available in this past free agency in Cushenberry. The right side is still up for debate, right? But you need those players to improve. So what did you do? You brought in the head coach's dad that specializes in offensive line play to be the offensive line coach. On paper, Austin, this should work.
Yeah.
And that helps who? It helps the offense, it helps the running backs, it helps the wide receivers, it helps the tight ends, and more importantly, it helps your young quarterback that's trying to figure out, can he play big-time football in this league and a conference that has the best players at that position, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The AFC's quarterback, like where they are now with the emergence of, what's Stroud going to be? How much is Jim Harbaugh going to help, Justin Herbert? We know the top tier guys that have 2 times, 3 times, 4 times more young talent at the quarterback position than the NFC. You can't get to the Super Bowl without playing that type of quarterback, and it doesn't matter if you can't protect your own.
I'm with you. And I think, like, obviously you mentioned it. The Titans offensive line play has been abysmal. and you've got Bill Callahan and JC Latham teaming up together. And I think they're the perfect pair because JC Latham has all of the traits that you want. His height, his weight, strength, arm length, explosive numbers, all the testing things. JC Latham's got them. It's just about the techniques and the tiny things that he's got to work on and get better at. And he's so willing to learn. It was so easy to watch him Friday. He's so willing to learn. And I think he's confident in himself, but he's not afraid of making a mistake. And he had a quote after in the press conference about like, it's okay to make a mistake. You just have to learn from it. If you don't learn from it, then it wasn't worth making the mistake. And then I did think I picked up on something too. There's two things that really impressed me is I think he bet $1,000 to Bill Callahan against Bertha. I think I heard him say 1,000. So I'll play that one more time and see if you can catch up on him saying 1,000 right at the beginning before he hits Bertha for the first time. Did you hear it? I think he said 1,000. And so I think he put $1,000 on that bet. Right after that, Bill Callahan said, "I'm not trying to take all your money." So there was a.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely heard that. I don't know, but I don't know the a dollar amount or anything like that.
I think I heard him say 1,000. Anyway, another thing too that impressed me is there was something in that video of him going through and using this on the drill where he started on his knees to explode out against the sled. JC Latham at 6'6", 342 pounds, did like the toddler squat. You know, when like you see all like your friends' kids that are like 3 years old and they all sit like this, and you're like, how in the hell can you bend like that? Now you've got JC Latham, who is a grown man, massive, but still has the flexibility to sit like this. Like I challenge, I bet just amount, maybe a little bit more people could sit like this than hit Big Bertha and move her. But I think the flexibility and overall athleticism plus the strength that he's got is really the whole picture. Like the guy's got everything. Like he's got everything that you want to be a left tackle for a long time. It's just how can he apply it? And because he's got the bend, the strength, the coachability, everything that JC Latham possesses.
If I question one thing, I know the guy can maul people. He's huge, right? I know he can move weight. I know, and if he gets the technique correct, can he pass block? Can he not hold? This is I'll say this. My number one concern with JC Latham is in today's era of football, and I'm not saying he can't, so don't misconstrue this, chat, because I know you like to do that sometimes. The era of football that we're in with the pass rushers that bend and are not can only be bulls. Like the reason why TJ Watt is so good is he can be a bull, but he's faster than you are. Right? And the quickness on the edge. Harold Landry, I think and here's a positive. I think Harold Landry going up and you're going to have to move some things around, but them going up against each other in practice because Harold Landry is a bend technique pass rusher. He tries to get around you and be quicker than the 300-plus offensive lineman or offensive tackle that he's going up against. Can JC Latham stand up to that and pass block consistently, not hold, not get penalties? That's the big thing that I'm looking for because I know they're going to want to run left, right? They are going to line up and they're going to try to get Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears behind these two big hog mollies that are their first round picks of the last two seasons and run behind them and see if they can, scat and get through. That is, we know that. Can he pass block? And that's what I'm curious. We'll find that out sooner rather than later. But that's the one thing that he's got to prove. And I think if he does that, now all of a sudden you're opening your eyes to, man, does this guy have every single piece? And if you have every single piece, you're going to be dominant.
Yeah, and Mike Martz said in the video pre-draft that we've played before that if I were coaching JC Latham, I'd coach him up in camp on speed guys because he has a little bit less confidence against speed guys around the edge. So sometimes he overcompensates with that first step being too wide there for when he's going up against speed. Power guys, he just blocks them, shuts them down. So, yeah, I think Harold Landry, even Arden Key. Arden Key is a speed rusher around the outside. He's got holes in his game, but if you're trying to get JC Latham ready for a speed guy, you've got two options on the roster that can truly help out with that overall. I did see another comment that I wanted to get to overall. I think, it was Pistol Ramsey says, can Alt bend like JC? I don't think so, because we watched Joe Alt in Notre Dame film, and you see the Notre Dame offensive lineman. If you're looking from the end zone camera behind the Notre Dame offensive line, you see everybody's jersey number but Joe Alt, because his butt was up in the air a little too much. I think Joe Alt being nearly 6'9" is something that hurts him when it comes to the leverage game of being a little bit too long and not having that bend. JC Latham has that bend on top of the strength and power to go along with it. So, but it is impressive.
To this point, different situation.
Sure.
Why it works for the Chargers, and probably another, I think they drafted him because he was the best offensive tackle in the draft. Justin Herbert, 6'6". So his height is, if he was blocking for Drew Brees, maybe that's a different story. But for the Chargers, I actually think, it works for them because they got a 6'6" quarterback that's mobile and can throw. And so I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Super chat here. King VC came in early, said, like the show, hit that like button if you're watching on Facebook and our YouTube. That goes a long way for us. And then Kick It the King says, you call it Bertha, I call it Bessie from Cars. Talking about the sled that Bill Callahan invented. So Bertha and Olga, there are two of them. Those are the names. I don't know how they were named. That's something we can ask Bill Callahan and some Titans players later on, how they got their names, Bertha and Olga. He's got another sled that he invented. And I was talking to Teron about this a little bit too at practice. It's one that has, Zach, and I've never seen this before. It's got 5 pads on it, like defenders standing up, but they're in a semicircle. And my assumption is that it's for one player who has to go laterally, like you're picking up a stunt blitz, right? Like let's say JC Latham's playing left tackle and he's getting his guy speed rushing, but he's got to peel off inside to do that, or vice versa. I think that's what it's for. And I'm fascinated to watch them use that, because they didn't use it on Friday, day one. Start with the basics, start with Bertha. But I can't wait to watch that drill, because if it's what I think it is.
Describe this a little bit more. It's
a
sled.
So it's a sled, but it's in a semicircle, and it has 5 pads, like where you've got, like it's mocking like shoulders and a torso, right? Standing up. And it's got dots, which I believe are like punch points. Like dots up by the chest and 2 dots by like the lower abdomen. And it's in a semicircle, and you can't fit, I don't think, more than one person inside the semicircle. So my guess is that it's something where you hit the first one, and then they call out like which direction you go. Like if you're in a DB doing back pedal, it's like left, right, up, back, like that kind of thing. But you're having to hit 5 different pads with different strike points. That's my guess. I don't know, but it looks like a defender pad with the 4 dots, like on a dice, right? That's what it looks like, with 5 different ones in a circle. And so I can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah, we'll take a picture. Take a picture of that. I guess mandatory minicamp's coming up. We'll have that. Yeah, we'll have OTAs next week, and I'll take a picture of that. They didn't use it Friday, but that's something that I'm interested in watching. All right, Zach, you ready for a little Monday age game? I mean, I'm ready. The real question is, are you ready?
I'm only ready after you tell me. I'm as ready as I can be. All right, Wilson County Hyundai is where to go to get your new ride. Make Payne Bone and his team a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon, or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Go check them out. I have the chat hidden, like I always do, for the age game on Monday. Be quick, don't hurry, no Googling. Those are the rules. Zach, what we got today?
Okay, so this is, I guess, a pan personal, and we'll connect the dots to get there. And this is a unique one. So over the weekend, I attended steeplechase I've probably been 10, 12 times. I'm a little bit older, a little different experience than I was 23 and full of, piss and vinegar, right? It was great. It was great. Got there at 11, saw horses. I actually saw horses this time compared to when you're in the infield and you're just running around, doing whatever. But old Tom Morris came through for me, and doing a little betting and won a race, won one of the first races. So it got me thinking. It was like, well, who is, and I'll ask this as kind of a two-part question, Austin, who is, in your opinion, the most famous racehorse?
Seabiscuit?
How old is Seabiscuit? That's exactly correct. How old was Seabiscuit when he unfortunately passed away? Everybody lives, everybody dies. How old was Seabiscuit when he died? Seabiscuit. And people know the story about Seabiscuit, but that is today's question.
I've actually never seen the movie. I think they're usually done racing by about 4 years old. I'm not a racehorse person. I mean, I have no idea. I'm just going to say 8. I mean, I have no clue. No clue. There's no way. I mean, did he like die tragically after a race inhumanely, or did he live a long life after retirement and get up to 15? I have no idea. I don't know.
You got the most famous racehorse known to man. That was the first horse that you said was the exact horse.
Yeah, I know, but like that doesn't mean I know how old.
Here you go. You'll get to look into Seabiscuit's eyes right here, right? Maybe you can kind of look into his eyes and see what his life was about. This was during the Great Depression back in the day. You know, how old was Seabiscuit when he unfortunately passed?
I mean, again, I'll just say, can I change my answer from 8?
I mean, if you want to, you can say whatever. You just got to lock in your answer.
All right, I'll say 5. Lock it in at 5.
All right. You went the wrong direction. I will say that. But so 5 is not correct.
It was a happier story than I expect.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't
look. I don't know.
Seabiscuit won many races.
Oh,
right.
I'm aware of that. Yeah, but
right?
like the racing career is usually like 3 years, and that's it. I believe.
I mean, you can have longer career. I mean, Seabiscuit won actually quite a bit of races. So let's go to and Steve goes secretary. If he would have said secretariat, then I would have been in trouble because I had Seabiscuit. Orlando goes 18, 43. That's wrong. Ashley goes 21. We do have a winner, which it is the 4th answer that we got. And that is Seabiscuit was lucky number 13 years old when he passed away. So there's a little bit of knowledge for you. Seabiscuit, champion thoroughbred horse. He beat the 1937 Triple Crown winner War Admiral.
I have heard of War Admiral, yes.
Right? And that propelled him to fame, but officially 13 years old. So Lucas died May 17th, 1947. That's the information for Seabiscuit. So Lucas, you are correct. And now I got it on the fly. Lucas has not won, I don't believe, the age game yet. So a brand new champion.
I am correct that Seabiscuit's racing career spanned from just 1937 to 1940. So I did know it was a short-lived career because that's how that works. But again, I don't know horses. Like I no clue. I do know this. Xavier Legette, rookie.
You don't know humans either, though, right?
Yeah, sure. Did you see Xavier Legette's press conference about the horse that he has? Dollar Bill.
Yeah, I couldn't understand him. I didn't know what he said.
Dollar Bill is his horse's name, who's about 15 years old right now. That Xavier Legette grew up with. That guy's constant content.
It's like Devin White. Now, Devin White was a horse enthusiast and still is. Former, unfortunately, linebacker. Does he still play for the Bucks? He moved on. This was his last year.
No, Devin White's there. He resigned.
No, he signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles.
Oh.
Lucas, put it on the board. Lucas Burks right there at the bottom. So we've got Brock Kraft and Anthony, 2-time champions, and our single champions of the age game. But Lucas gets on the board for a champion. Austin, I've got that section right above that trophy because you're a
Is that for me?
yeah, that's for you.
That's
if you
for me.
can, if you can make it, I'm saving that spot for you, but earned, not given. Congratulations to Lucas, 13 years old. A little Seabiscuit action. This is a little different game today.
Yeah, did not know that one, and that's okay. The poll did end, and we have a grand total of 21% of people do think they could successfully move Bertha Bill Callahan's offensive line sled. So 21% of people probably lying today on the show to start off their week. That's not a good way to start your week off, by lying to people in public. But all right, that'll do it for us on this Monday. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Buck Rising will be live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime at 7 p.m. Central, his new start time, going off pretty well here. So check out Buck with what he's got for any Titans action. We'll talk more. Several people asked me who's a UDFA that caught my eye. I've got one. We'll talk about it this week, maybe tomorrow. But like that show before you go, hit the subscribe button on YouTube and follow the page on Facebook. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.